Good morning, afternoon, evening or night, whenever you're watching this, welcome. The sound you're currently hearing, a bit like the final gurgles of a flushing toilet, is from the little woodland stream I'm in, which is passing under a wall of fallen trees and branches, which can't stop the water, but has stopped me. It's a very warm, humid day, and this is feeling very much like a rainforest here. I'm dressed poorly for rainforest, and feeling the heat sapping my energy. I need my energy for this outing, so this is my start point rather than 60 metres downstream as I'd previously intended. This little stream flows down from moorland through farmland into a village in the hills of West Yorkshire. The village starts about 60 metres downstream, and there this stream goes underground. On that limited information, this doesn't seem like a good spot for a spot of mudlarking, but there is an old dumpsite on the side of this stream. I've been there before. And I'm going to climb up the stream bed, seeing what's been washed out, what the bottle diggers have dug out, and generally picking up things that I can reuse, recycle, anything historically interesting, and anything that really shouldn't be left in the stream. Part of light bulb, quite vintage. I'll take it because it's got two tiny prongs of brass, which I shall add to my melt pile. It's quite slow going today. There's lots of nooks and crannies that things could be hiding in. Of course, most things that I find will be in the open, on beaches like this. Not a bad sherd. I might be able to use it in my intended craft project. Probably not this one, ridged pottery from most likely a marmalade jar. That looks definitely shaped intentionally by a human. Could it be part of a roof tile? I don't think so. This looks more finely carved than any stone roof tiles I've seen. Yorkshire gritstone anyway, carved. Any ideas, anyone? Nice little piece of transfer pattern, red and white, and importantly for what I want, relatively flat. Plain. Looks like a piece of clay pipe stem. It is. There's a lot of imaginative craft purposes that these get used in, but the ones I find are usually too stained by the mud and peaty water here. I take them anyway, might use them one day. A bit of blue and white poking out from underneath some ridged pottery. Not a bad little piece of a pattern, top edge of a teacup. As expected, finding more and more finds the further upstream I go. Bit of a meat paste pot. They're usually the best survivors out of all the vintage glassware. Not in this stream though. Blue and white, willow pattern, the tree part. Oh, ceramic cap. Last time I found one of these, I found out what it was from the branding on it. This one looks plain, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. A little insulator to stick over two ends of twisted together electrical wire from the times before insulating tape would do that job. You wouldn't think it from today's evidence, but it looks like this stream can get quite fierce. Hasn't quite destroyed this fence, but it's not far off it. I'm guessing the fence was meant to stop something from going downstream where I've just been. Can't be people with this people-sized hole right here. Fallen logs, perhaps. And just as I was going through, I spotted something. Not interesting or exciting, but I do pick up basically every orphan piece of copper and brass I spot out in the wild, and I take it home for my forge. That's nice. Zinc-covered copper wire will go in the brass pile. So anyway, paths seem to cross two streams, which meet in this clearing and join together. I had to miss a bit out there, as there's a signpost. Wouldn't want everyone to descend upon this pretty little site. That's not the pretty little valley we're looking for, although that path sure would be a nice walk one of these days. Today it's this one, which again seems to be fenced off. To stop what? With all those big gaps. First a fence, then holly, then a fallen tree. It's almost like the universe is telling me something. But what? Quite a beaten up galvanised steel water tank. A bit too big and not really something I can use. I won't be able to take all the plastic I find today, but if it's easily extractable and not too heavy and fits into the Star Wars shopping bag I have with me today, then I'll take it to where it needs to go, either a bin or towards being recycled if it can be. Another bit of marmalade jar. Nice little piece of floral pattern from a hexagonal cup. That's not very common. I see brass with chrome effect laminate on top. And a stainless steel rod. That throws my idea for what the brass was right out of the window. Now I have no idea. Barely a step further than the brass, and it's Bakelite. Looks to be part of an electrical switch housing. It's plastic with a tiny bit of brass. I'll take it. First bottle stopper of the day. Quite a nice one. Nice condition anyway. A prepared by Eno's patent, which would probably have stopped a bottle holding Eno's fruit salt, once sold as a general sort of cure-all, which might have actually had some therapeutic qualities, seeing as it's still sold as an indigestion remedy. Bit of copper strip, and that's firmly in there. A definite two-handed job. Accursed plastic bags, so light the wind takes them everywhere. Ooh, spoon. Brass, possibly once silver-plated, and oh wow, that's a jumbled mess of numbers and letters. I can make out 2, 3, W, possibly I, 8, W, then an arrow underneath and an R. Some numbers on the back and a jumble on the front, perhaps the most enigmatic spoon I've found to date. Cool, I'm happy with that. Almost forgot the plastic. Oh nice. I don't think I've ever found a Celtic knot-style pattern before on pottery. Not in a stream anyway. And it's tin glaze, which might mean it's a bit older than most here. A cast iron wheel. I do love finding things like this, but I really don't like carrying them. It's a heavy thing, a real nightmare to clean it up and stabilise the rust. And then what? Any ideas? If somebody can give me a really great craft idea for it, I guess that could be a good excuse for a return visit here. Oh, do you see what I see? What it is a mystery. Cast iron box. Is that a keyhole in the centre? Maybe not. There's no movement in it, it's well embedded. About 1 centimetre thick cast iron. It's going to take some digging out. Yeah, 2 hands job again. I have cleared quite a few rocks. It's still well entrenched in small pebbles, full of them too, creating a suction effect that's beyond my brute force ability to break. And it's not looking anywhere near as interesting now. I think it was quite likely a header tank, possibly at the top of a cast iron drain pipe. That's not to say that it's not a cool thing or I don't want it, I kind of do. I just think that I would need a spade to dig it out, and I deliberately do not bring a spade to a place where bottle diggers go, so I cannot be mistaken for someone digging there without permission. Anyway, during the relocation of some of these stones, I found a little brass collar off of something, lodged down under the water, a small consolation prize. Vintage jar lid. Looks like it's a bit rust stained, which people have told me how to clean off, but I haven't tried any of the methods yet. Perhaps I will with this. A H, a T and a B, but which letter comes first when they're all stacked on top of each other? Bit of lead from a battery. Shouldn't be in the stream. This'll be the glass battery that the lead came out of. If it had been intact, it would have been a nice find. As it is, it's a liability. I take it to remove the lead, not because I want the thing itself. Ooh, glass bottle stopper. The small joy of finding these never gets too small to feel glad at finding them. Almost every piece of plastic I've stopped to pick up today has been near to something pretty good. Is that a karmic reward, or are there just pretty good things almost everywhere that I'm missing? And are they supposed to be arrows painted in flow blue glaze on his jerkin, which would make him an escaped convict, maybe desperate for a drink while on the run? I see words. Linnet. In a minute. Carry the link. That's from the old nursery rhyme, Cock Robin. It's about 15 verses long, and I never memorised it. Perhaps by the Roundup I will have. trying to work out if things I can see poking out of this bottom edge are out of this little landslip or washed down from upstream. They do certainly seem to be in soil that's come down here. Nice aqua blue sheer top bottle. If they came down with the soil, then the dumpsite is potentially much larger than I supposed. I don't think it could be this big though. That would mean it stretches for 200 plus meters. Maybe just mingled with the soil when February floodwaters came through. Oh, there's some ironwork poking out here. Legs maybe from a very low bench or table. And a fire grate. Neither of them things I want. Brass something there. Oh, light fitting, though string, not wire, into a bit of steel into brass, with the last remains of a brass shade. Huh, that might be a fragment of a shade. It's certainly brass, so I'll take it, but anyone know what sort of lamp it's from? I am curious. Almost missed this, another jar lid. Not bad condition, and nope. The water made it even harder to read. Perhaps it'll become legible when thoroughly dried. I think the appeal of these is similar to bottle stoppers, and I hope one day that I've got a good idea for what I can do with them. Some of the better conditioned ones could be coasters, but I like the chipped and warm ones too. This is another of those aesthetically pleasing pieces of cast iron which I lack the will to lug out of this steep little valley. The handle wheel of a wrangle, I think. The spokes are interesting. There's a Celtic or possibly Roman carved stone near Ilkley, a town about an hour's drive from here, and it's kinda similar to these spokes. Anyway, too heavy. That's an unusual stone. Mudstone by the look and the feel and the ease with which it's been etched by whatever etched these lines in it. Has anyone seen anything quite like it? And can you point me in the direction of understanding what happened to make this like this? I'm probably going to leave it. I live in a small place now without room for displaying a collection of oddities. I will take that plastic though. Third jar lid of the day. I do prefer bottle stoppers, but I'm still happy to find these. This one looks to be a duplicate of the second one, more or less, give or take a chip or two. That looks like the back of a head. It is. A figurine of a boy, or at least I think so. Missing some key features, worn off, but a ceramic head is always a fun thing to find. This, I think, is where the dump actually starts, and the road ahead seems to have been built over the dump site, or rather through it. Looking very different from the last time I was here, before the world changed. Last time there was, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 10 times as much water flowing down here. At points in that tunnel it reached the top of my boots. Today it's hardly going to reach the bottom. Head torch. I don't think the company who gave it to me are likely to get good value out of the deal. I did a short review in my last video and I get to keep the torch, which would have been more than I could afford. Or rather, I've been quite economically poor for a number of years and I've gotten used to making do, so another way of looking at it is it would have been more expensive than I could easily countenance spending on a torch. It is very good for filming in tunnels. That little beach looks promising. On closer inspection, I'm not finding anything that's appealing. Onwards to the next. Oh, no. I spy from out of the corner of my eye the little cat sculpture. Missing a head, of course, but that can be replaced. Vaguely Egyptian styling about it, maybe a souvenir, meant to be an associate of Bast, perhaps. Brass ring. Not seen one like this before. Too big for a standard buckle. So is it decorative or functional or both? Anyone recognise what it could be? I don't usually like the pale, faded looking blue and white, but this is really quite nice and would make a good long strip in a tile arrangement. All of this has come out of a bottle digger hole. The ones who dig here seem to be a mixed bag, some who fill in their holes again, and some who spill the spoil down the hillside and leave a big dangerous pit behind. It is the latter who do upset me with their considerable disregard for the environment, who nevertheless are inadvertently putting the things I'm finding out into the environment. No them, no video here. It's not the easiest thing to come to terms with. I don't think I've seen that before. Slate etched with a grid. Is this something that was used in Victorian schools? I am curious about it, but I don't really want to start taking building materials home. If I do, the walls come before the roof, so bricks first. Iron, bolt by the feel of it. And brass, a brass slider, which isn't going to slide without some TLC, and I think I recognise what it might be from. Could be wrong, of course, but there was a sliding mechanism in the middle of some weighing scales that sometimes looked a lot like this. Cool little find anyway, and one that won't go into the melt pile. I see something familiar. This exact strangely coloured melted partial bottle was here last time I was. Not exactly here, about 10 metres further upstream, I'd guess. It's still quite pretty, ugly, intriguing, and I'm still not going to take it. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of bottle diggers, perhaps I shouldn't paraphrase the Bible, but is a psalm people draw strength through to deal with the trials and tribulations of life. Mudlarking works similarly. It's a calming thing, and even lead getting into the stream bed isn't upsetting to me after an hour's gentle meander up this beautiful little valley. That's quite pretty. That's also pretty. That's not. I have said before that cutting the tops off bottles isn't really for me. Well, not for Etsy anyway, but I might take a bottle or two to try it out. Not for Etsy items, just for trying it. That's lovely. And this, yeah, two of the best pieces of blue and white I've found today. Another potential candidate for cutting the top off bottles, quite a nice one, I do like it, but a deep crack going down the side, I think that disqualifies it, today at least. A cute little bottle which doesn't need to be suitable for a craft project, it gets automatic acceptance. Not particularly for myself, my girlfriend likes them. The smaller and cuter the bottle, the better. This bottle was here last time I was here too, and I remember liking it. This time I take the Fred Anderton registered Skipton bottle and cut the top lip off it. Last time I didn't take the time to check beyond this tunnel beneath a road. This time I shall, just to see if the Dumpsite goes further than I think. I really don't think it does. This road, unlike the other one, is old. 19th century at least by the looks of the original structure, propped up by gabions. The neatest filled gabions I've ever seen. Another barrier, and I think this one is to prevent damage to the bridge if logs come down the stream. But it's also kind of a barrier at the edge of someone's garden. There's a farmhouse hidden in the trees, not sure if the camera is showing that. And no signs of pottery or glass, or really rubbish of any kind in the stream or near it. Strange place to leave us all, but it's almost whimsical, whether it was the stream or a person that left it there, and I am going to assume it was a human. I like it. Now then, up onto the actual dump site, and it's summer, so the nettles are high, the thorns are long, and some of the nice bottles I saw last time will be well hidden now. But this thicket is probably only the lower portion of the hill, and most of the site will just be 30-40 centimetres of vegetation, as opposed to neck height. An intact looking marmalade jar. I do use these, and I had to leave the ones I had at my home that was when I went into lockdown in a place that wasn't. Or chipped. Oh well. Oh, this camera isn't going to be catching this. A dragonfly dancing in the air. I have, by the kindness of my wonderful audience, now just about got the funds to buy a camera that could catch it. Just have to decide which camera to get. Ilkley Brewery aerated water, too scratched up. And a table water, too broken, but blue and white in the spoil pile. That looks marginally interesting. I'm not really keen on coloured milk glass, but I haven't seen a vase base like that before. Anyway, nothing I can do with it. This though, poking out, brass plate. Encrusted and probably plain, but I'm always happy to find a few ounces of scrap brass. Ooh, and glass bottle stoppers. it's a Garton's, and not one I already have with a knobbly edge. Should always take a quick look back. From a different angle, things leap out of places already searched. Some of you might have seen it, but I didn't. Cod bottle marble. It's a little broken, but I don't care. The things that make it feel like a decent mudlarking outing are often unassuming, common finds, the bottle stoppers and the marbles. Sure, a bucket list item will make it into a great outing, but decent is good enough. It's this sort of thing that really ruins the chances of responsible bottle diggers being given permission. If you dig a hole, please fill it in again. Doesn't have to be perfect, but that's the responsibility you take on when you start. This has been left like this for 5 months. If I had a spade with me, I'd fill it in now. I think this one is newer and only marginally better behaviour, since if a creature fell into this one, it could escape. I'm in the section of the dump nearest the main road now, and the sirens just faded away into the distance. It startled me, starting up just 10 metres or so away. Anyway, this is the younger end of a dump, and I think most of the things here were dumped in the 50s, maybe 60s. That doesn't mean to say there isn't anything here that I might like. My favourite find so far in all my mudlarking outings is probably about that age, and today, being so humid that the ground looks almost like it's been rained on, some things that I missed last time I was here will be easier to spot. Bakelite or similar early plastic, front piece of an electrical thing. Says condenser beneath a dial. Anyone know what it was? Not much of interest remaining, and home to quite a few little crawly critters, so leaving it. If it was in the stream, I'd take it because it's plastic, but it's not one that can be recycled, and it's already in a dump site. Sanizal, poisonous. Screw top, not one I already have. A milk glass jar, and it's one I have a few of. And... oh wow, that's wonderful. A little dwarf, just a little over 1 inch tall, but so detailed, and looks a bit like my grandfather did. Could it be from a cereal box giveaway? Anyone recognise it? Green poison bottle. Can't be intact, someone would have taken it. Ah, no warning words, and a big hole. That's a shame. Little milk glass pot. One I definitely don't have. It feels so much better quality than most, and the cosmetic cream that was in this probably cost a lot more than Pond's. Little trinket dish. I can't remember if it was this one, but I did encounter a trinket dish last time I came here, and I left it then too. Oh, I see something in there. Figurine of... a Dutch girl hauling water buckets. Not the finest craftsmanship, but I might be able to do something with it. Shout out if you see anything else interesting. No? Okay. Onwards then. I think it's about time to go. I do like this place. Hands up if you want me to return from time to time. and just as I turned the camera off, I spotted this large willow patterned platter. The bag is pretty heavy now. And roundup time. That was a fun lark, albeit in conditions anathema to my body, which is much more in tune with cold weather than hot and very humid. I found quite a lot of blue and white pottery, which, while none of it is particularly special, mostly patterns rather than scenes, they are going to get used, either by me or James of Find and Create, some pieces which aren't blue and white, and they're for my craft project, although some I pick up just because I like them, like anything with an old poem on, and this is about murder and mourning. It goes, "Who killed Cock Robin? I, said the sparrow, with my bow and arrow, I killed Cock Robin. Who saw him die? I, said the fly, with my little eye, I saw him die. Who caught his blood? I, said the fish, with my little dish, I caught his blood. Who'll make the shroud? I, said the beetle, with my thread and needle, I'll make the shroud. Who'll dig his grave? I, said the owl, with my little trowel, I'll dig his grave. Who'll be the parson? I, said the rook, with my little book, I'll be the parson. Who'll be the clerk? I, said the lark, if it's not in the dark, I'll be the clerk. Who'll carry the link? I, said the linnet, I'll fetch it in a minute, I'll carry the link. Who'll be chief mourner? I, said the dove, I mourn for my love, I'll be chief mourner. Who'll carry the coffin? I, said the kite, if it's not through the night, I'll carry the coffin. Who'll bear the pall? We, said the wren, both the cock and the hen, we'll bear the pall. Who'll sing a psalm? I, said the thrush, as she sat on a bush, I'll sing a psalm. Who'll toll the bell? I, said the bull, because I can pull, I'll toll the bell. All the birds of the air fell a sighing and a sobbing when they heard the bell toll for poor Cock Robin. I don't think the makers of this scope could possibly have fitted all of that on it. The bit I have is the 5th of 14 verses. I don't think they could have even fitted the first 4 on it too, so maybe it was a series of mugs, each with a different character from the poem. Who knows? A few pieces of pipe stem, and the long one at least looks like it would have had a characterful bowl. This lid can be no later than 1921, since the company that made it dropped the brand name then. It's a good indication that the dump is very likely that old, probably older. I haven't found newspapers there, and I can't find any reference to it as a dump site on old maps, so I don't know if it's a site started in Victorian times, or earlier, or later. I'm sure that information is somewhere, and I will keep on looking. It's always nice to find bottle stoppers, marbles, figurine pieces. These I may well augment with Fimo limbs when I get around to it, though I have quite a box full now of partials, and I'm thinking of giving a lot of that away to people who are more proactive at that sort of craft. The head and the cat, though, are quite a nice match. A bit of trimming, some glue and polymer clay wings, then some paint, and it's a nice young sphinx. This spoon is an oddity. I can just about make out 6 numbers and 3 letters and a symbol on this side, but some of them are on top of each other, and then on the top side there's 6, 4, 8, T, 9 engraved. By far the most engraved spoon I found, and probably going to remain mysterious forever, since Google searches for combinations of the letters and numbers I can read brings up lots, but nothing relevant. This is certainly my favourite find of the day. I have found tiny figurines before, but this is the most detailed. I know he came out of a mould, but someone did sculpt the original form from which the mould was taken, and that would have been a wonderfully sculpted thing. It's characterful and cheerful, and I like it. I do hope to find out a bit more about him, but I haven't happened upon the right search terms yet. I haven't bought the glass cutter yet for chopping the top off these, but I was idly contemplating doing so and making candles in them. It's probably not a video's worth of crafting. Well, maybe a very short video. We'll see. I do know I keep saying that I'm going to make some craft videos, and it's probably frustrating for those of you keen to see them. It's been frustrating for me too. The pandemic really got in the way of the plans I had. I had to leave behind most of my materials and tools when I locked down at my girlfriend's small flat. I will get them at some point, and I'm especially looking forward to getting the forge, which most of this brass and copper scrap was brought home for. But I have been buying some other ingredients and equipment for some newer ideas, and a huge thank you goes out to the kind people who've bought some things for these future craft videos from my Amazon wish list. The videos are going to be a while yet because some of my craft ideas are not at all simple, and I have a steep learning curve ahead of me about what some of the materials can be pushed to do and what they can't. I hope to have a few craft videos ready for release before the end of the year, which is now less than 3.5 months away. It remains to be seen if I can craft a good craft video, but I am going to work at it. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have liked it, then please give it a like. Further options are a comment, a share, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications, and the further options are, and only if you'd like to, you can buy me a hypothetical coffee through Ko-fi, link in the description, or something off my Amazon wishlist, which is ingredients for the many varied videos I'd like to make. Thank you all very much for watching, and for now, goodbye.